Hey, hi everyone. Again, talking about the subject of judgment as regards the our service coming up on this Sunday. So the idea of sticking to the subject again. It's such a rich subject. My God, it's really the course and Wave Mastery both talk about the dream of separation, and really what we're being shown here is that judgment and judgment alone is that which is maintaining the dream. Judgment creates separation. So the thing that a parent is creating what we call our dream of separation, the belief that we're not unified with God, the belief that we're separate from God, is the fact that we're allowing judgmental thinking to exist in our minds. That's pretty wild. But if the first axiom of the way of mastery is true, nothing is happening except for what we're choosing, then that would be the source. It would be our choice as to what we're putting our attention on. We're putting our attention on judgmental thinking. It's a belief that something should be different. There's a problem with reality, that means, and therefore conflict. Well, think of all the religions and all the philosophies and everything that ever been created to explain the apparent separation. And there it is right there. We are choosing unloving thinking, choosing the belief that something should be different, whether it's us or another or whatever, and that's the source of our suffering. Period. Period. It's the source of the fall. It's the source of everything. The taking on the knowledge of the tree of good and evil is the way they put it in the Bible. The judgment. And final judgment, as is beautifully described in the modern teachings of Jesus, the Course in Miracles, Way of Mastery, final judgment is when you finally realize how painful and ridiculous it is to allow judgmental thinking to live in your mind. And the final judgment will be the one that makes you finally realize that and give it up. So you won't make any more judgments. That's the final judgment. God and Jesus and other enlightened beings. I'm not saying God, I mean, God's an enlightened being, but God's kind of like above that too. But God, because God isn't conflicted in itself, in himself and herself, and Jesus, because Jesus is an enlightened avatar, don't make the stupid mistake of suffering through judging. So this idea that, oh, God's going to judge us, Jesus is going to judge us, well, if they do, they're creating inner conflict. So they're probably not going to do that. You don't need to worry about that one. Maybe God and Jesus aren't stupid enough to judge us like we are stupid enough to judge ourselves. So, anyhow, freedom comes from recognition of this and from seeking out the unloving thoughts, seeking out the judgments that are living in our minds. I had a fun one this morning. I wake up in bed and I look at my phone and look at Facebook and the news. There was this thing on, and then I write a long post. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing something, there was something somewhere that said, oh, well, I just posted my opinion on Facebook. There, that should take care of the problem. So I find myself, it's a little bit like a self-process, like the Byron Katie work, radical inquiry, all these inquiry processes. I find myself writing all this stuff, feeling very agitated about the situation, but kind of covering it up enough so that I'm not thinking, oh, well, I'm not judging this. I'm just, seeing something that could use some enlightenment here, something outside of me. So the one today was that Elon Musk, who it turns out he just became worth $300 billion. Can you imagine that? The first he's worth what Gates and Buffett are combined. I mean, like what I think almost what Zuckerberg, head of Facebook, and Gates, head of Microsoft, are combined. Elon Musk. He runs, I think, three $500 billion companies. How the heck does that happen? So this extraordinary being, probably from some other universe. But his emotional awareness is not keeping up with the tech awareness, at least if what is said is accurate. Who knows? But on the surface, it sure looks this way. Because he just recently tweeted that he was, and this is slightly crass, so apologies on that. He tweeted that, and I saw this in an article talking about the sexism in tech culture. But I was, not that that's not an important subject for me, it's just my focus was on Musk himself as I looked at this, or so I thought it was on Musk. And he quoted this thing saying he wants to start a school called the Texas Institute of Technology and Science. TITS. Yeah? Tits. Never a word I've liked. I've never liked the word. And because it always seems childish and whatever. But so somebody suggested to him, a lot of people thought this was serious or excited, oh, he's starting a technology school. That'd be pretty cool to have Musk have his own technology school. No, it turns out it's not serious. It's an adolescent joke about that word. And he says, oh, it would really have cool merchandise and be widely regarded and stuff. Like, he's making a joke about that part of a woman's body in this way. And I'm thinking, my God, that is genuinely pathetic. I mean, that this guy, and that lots of people think it's funny. And it's like, wow, dude, you have a lot to learn about women and about self-realization. And I was genuinely sad that this guy was doing this. I felt sad for my brother that an adult man, a grown-up man in quotes, I guess, would think that this was funny. And it's not very clever, for one thing. And secondarily, it's like, this is, to me, and I went on this long thing about this is a guy trying to connect with the feminine, and he doesn't know how to do it. And I feel sad for my brother, which is true. But then after I was finished posting, because it takes me a little while to get things some of the time, I thought to myself, well, wait a second. Like, how am I feeling here? And I realized, well, I'm feeling agitated. There's something in my skin about this. So I kind of breathed and looked at it, and I said, well, what's agitating to me? Like, what's coming up as an emotion? Oh, sadness. And I felt like what I had said about Musk, and maybe it's true or maybe it's not, who knows, is here's a guy who's trying to connect with the feminine, but just doing it in a really stupid way. And it's not working, and it won't work doing it that way. But then even underneath it, I thought, wow, he's kind of got the idea right. It's like maybe he's sensing that in the tech world, there's an absence of feminine wisdom. He even wants to give the name to a fictional, albeit fictional, institute, technology institute. He wants to call it that which symbolizes feminine nurturance more than anything else. So maybe there's something in there in his mind, which is saying, hey, we need to bring feminine wisdom more into this whole world of technology. But boy, that connection sure doesn't seem to be working, does it, if that's the way he's going about it? Just the way many men go about Harvey Weinstein. Here's like an example of a guy who's seeking feminine connection, but wow, what a terrible way to try to go about getting it. And so I felt bad that there wasn't more wisdom there. And I thought, this guy, if he doesn't have this awareness, he's going to do whatever's necessary. He'll work his whole life to try to get feminine attention, and he'll do whatever they want, whatever the feminine wants. So because of his lack of skill, because of his lack of emotional awareness, he's extremely vulnerable to the women in his life, because he'll do whatever they want in order to have that connection. And then I thought, like, here's this big story about this other being. I don't even know. I mean, I have no idea about it, if any of this is true or not. I could argue that it is. I could use philosophical and theological and psychological principles and sacred sexuality principles, blah, 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 and argue. But then I really thought, well, what is it that I'm judging? And I thought, well, men shouldn't objectify women in an attempt to connect with them in degrading ways or in immature ways. In ways that don't work, maybe is the best way to put it. And I look at my own life. Well, have I done that? Do I do that now? And I'm thinking, oh, ouch, yeah. I do that some of the time. And is there a history in my life of, kind of selling myself out a bit in order to have feminine connection? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And just really looking at that and thinking, wow, God, everything's projection. Every time I perceive a problem in the world, even if it's a subtle one, even if I think I'm helping, even if I think I'm loving someone else and being compassionate to their situation, it's always projection. Maybe men should objectify women if it's the only way that they can feel a sense of feminine connection. I don't know. They certainly seem to a lot of the time. Maybe women should do whatever they do in their relationship with men, because we're all afraid, we're all trying to make connection and don't know how to do it yet. And maybe the compassion that I felt for my brother, which I genuinely did for calling my brother, everybody's our brother, brother and sister. I genuinely felt compassion for this man. Not that I'm not condemning him. I'm not saying what he's doing is demeaning, because I don't think it's powerful. It's like an adolescent kid hitting a girl because he doesn't know how to connect with her. It's childish. And so I guess I brought a little compassion to myself for seeing the desperate desire I've had at times to connect with the feminine, the complete lack of social awareness as to how to do so, and just how it's okay to love that too, in myself and in others. And that the men and women issue is such a big thing because it touches us so deeply. I heard that Elon Musk had a relationship with Amber Heard, who's an actress. I'm a big Amber Heard fan. Like, I can see, she sounds like, anybody who knows about her, she had a divorce from Johnny Depp and really messy stuff. But she was also voted the woman who had the most beautiful face in the world by whoever, People Magazine or the BBC or something. And I can see, man, if he had a breakup with her, wow, that would really hurt. I mean, imagine you've got $300 billion and you still don't get the girl. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So I'm finding myself feeling a little bit exposed, sharing all this. But to me, the courage about this journey together is, we're all vulnerable. We're all in this world. We're all feeling incomplete, in a sense. And there are things with the big story about what will complete us is often in this world is special love relationship. Somebody like Amber Heard is very special because she's famous and she's incredibly beautiful. You can't replace her in a sense. But yeah, what you got to do is not betray yourself for that idol or for any idol, whether it's money or power or society or whatever, because love's more important. And self-love means not judging yourself for the mistakes and the errors and the silly, silly things that you've done to try to find love, to try to find completion in the world. My goodness. I was thinking how my prayer really became that the women in this guy's life are compassionate and wise and forgiving, first of all, for his stupid immaturity. And then I thought, maybe I'm talking about me, maybe I'm talking about me and wishing that for myself. And I think that could well be the case. But first off, to love the judgments of ourselves, I should be more skilled. I should be more capable. I should be better at this. I should have more, whatever it is that I don't know. What if we're just okay the way we are, just as we are, finding our way through? And we can learn to forgive each other and learn to be compassionate. Men have a tough time in the world. Women have a tough time in the world. We can both, in many cases, bring comfort and joy and happiness to each other. They seem to be, the feminine and masculine seem to inspire the joy of life in each other. So may the prayer be that we all find the way to connect and integrate in loving ways. Thanks for listening.